How many of you have been watching the news lately? If you have, I'm sure you've heard about the economic crisis facing our country today. What you might not know is that the country faced a similar situation almost 30 years ago. When Ronald Reagan took office in 1980, he was faced with the task of reviving a failed economy, and he did just that. By employing supply-side economics, the Reagan administration increased federal revenues, decreased unemployment, and drastically reduced inflation. I'm going to tell you how they did it. Reagan started out by reducing taxes across the board. This chart shows the percentages that taxes were reduced for each income group under Reagan's policies. As you can see, everybody got a tax break. The top 20% went down by 35%. The second quintile went down 44%. The middle class, their taxes were lowered by 46%. Then you get into the fourth 20% down here, their taxes went down by 64%. And then the lowest class of income earners, their taxes were dropped by 263%. This was due to new tax credits implemented by Reagan for the poor. So as you can see, everybody got a break. By cutting taxes and reducing government regulation, Reagan's policies encouraged new investments and entrepreneurship, which led to increased revenues and new jobs. When he took office in 1980, Reagan faced a huge unemployment rate. As you can see, in 1982, the unemployment rate was almost 10%. But as these policies took effect, the unemployment rate was reduced to almost, it was under 6% by the time Reagan left office in 1988. And over this time, there were almost 20 million new jobs created. Reagan also employed a tight anti-inflationary money policy. This chart shows what inflation was like when Reagan took office. In 1980, inflation was up to almost 14%. Over the next 8 years, it dropped to just under 1.5% in 1987. Reagan's policies turned the economy around and led to the longest period of economic growth in American history. Does anybody have any questions?
How did lowering taxes increase federal revenue?
By lowering taxes on people and businesses, there was more money freed up for people to spend and businesses to spend on investments and growth. This introduced more money into the economy, which also led to new jobs, and with those new jobs there were increased federal revenues. Do you have any more questions?
Why doesn't the government do the same things today?
Well, Ronald Reagan was a conservative thinker. His policies were based on economist Arthur Laffer's policies. Arthur Laffer believed that the government needed to not be involved as much in people's lives. And the politicians that are in power today are more liberal thinkers. Liberals lean more toward the school of thought that government spending can stimulate the economy. Any more questions?
How does deregulation help decrease unemployment?
Well, when industries are regulated, it costs them a lot of money. Their prices are reduced, their costs are increased, and basically they're being charged just to do business. By deregulating these companies, they're able to have more capital to spend on expansion and new enterprises. So basically they can create new jobs and grow the businesses without the government's interference. Is that everything?
Well, why have I heard Reagan's policies referred to as trickle-down economics?
Well, trickle-down economics again, it goes back to the theory of supply side economics. Basically, the theory is that if you cut taxes and lower costs for the largest income earners, it frees up more money, and they're going to spend money on different things, you know, job expansion, entrepreneurship, which again leads to new jobs, and basically the money trickles down into the pockets of the lower income people. Thank you very much.